Well, it's if I can try to explain it the best that I can. Really, probably didn't give Caleb enough chance to make it happen. He threw a pick on the first play, and that's certainly a bad start, and that leaves a bad taste in your mouth. But overall, he played pretty good. He didn't get to play enough. We didn't establish much of a run game early. The first 5 times we ran the football, we gained 0 yards, and all of a sudden, some of the other plays that we made, we had some penalties on, and all of a sudden we're backed up in second and long or third and long, and those are tough downs to convert on. But overall, I thought that Caleb played pretty well. We didn't have enough plays. There were some times in the first quarter, I think maybe we might have ran maybe 11 plays in the first quarter. That's not very many plays, and we wanted to make sure that we got Robert in the first half, and he manufactured a drive and got us down there to score a field goal with. So that was kind of the only momentum that we had offensively in the first half, and we really needed some momentum bad, the way things were going. So we started Robert off in the second half, and he did some things well, and then they had the ball a lot, and I believe it was in the third quarter. And the next thing you know, Caleb doesn't get to play much in the second half. So it's really kind of hard to get a feel for how well he might have played if he had played more. Other than the interception that he threw, he played awfully well. He completed some passes, and he had a couple of drops. If we catch the drops, then his completion percentage is pretty good, and he engineers the offense well. He manages the offense very, very well. Robert did some good things. He made some great throws, but really didn't manage the offense all that well. He ad-libbed some and got outside the system at times when he really didn't have to. And he didn't have a whole lot of reps in practice last week. He missed some meeting time and practice time when he was sick, and hasn't practiced near as much as Caleb has, and doesn't manage the offense as well. If you were behind by a significant amount and you had to throw it a whole lot, and that's all that you were, that's all that you could do in order to get back in the game. If he could stay within the system, he could really be a difference maker for us, because he has a tremendous arm. He's an outstanding passer, but he still is not managing the offense near as well as he needs to. Caleb manages the offense very well right now. Robert doesn't manage it as well. Robert is an exceptionally talented passer. Caleb is throwing the ball very well right now, other than his pick. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but that's kind of where it's at. Sometimes if you're sitting in the stands and you're watching a couple of beautiful passes by Robert Marv, and you see the offense move down the field, you assume that that he's the answer, and maybe he is, but he's still not where he needs to be yet.
Saying all that you just said, who's your starter on Saturday night?
This coming Saturday?
Yeah, this coming Saturday.
Well, we'll wait and see. We'll practice and see how that goes. But when we go out there today, Caleb will be number one. Okay. He's overall playing better. When you grade him out, he grades out better.
Why was it tough to run against them after you went and looked at the film? Did your offensive line not do what it needed to do, or was Notre Dame's defense just good?
Their defense is very good, yeah. But really, when you look at the film, at times we did the best we've done, but not everybody at one time. We're playing 10-man football, and this is the United States. You play 11-man football in America. And we played 10-man football on offense at times last night, and you can't do that. They all have to get it done together, particularly when you're playing against a team with the talent and the level of Notre Dame. But I'm encouraged, really, to be honest with you, even though the numbers on the board don't show it. When I look at the film, I thought some of the linemen did the best they've done at times throughout the course of the game.
Just as you look back at the penalties, there's some penalties that are acceptable penalties in a coach's mind. There are some that are not. Just of your 13, how would you evaluate those penalties, and are they correctable mistakes moving forward?
Well, on defense, we had a holding call on Josh Johnson in the end zone, and you'd have to use a micrometer to find it. So that one was really tight. And then the celebration or the high five of Albert Evans in the end zone you can't do that. He makes a great play, and there's a hand sticking out there, so you slap it, and next thing you know, there's a flag out. I had some miscommunication with the officials. They were talking something about the band and also saying something about Albert. I'm not sure if whether or not our band getting all excited and maybe taunting the guy on the ground and Albert high-fiving the guy in the stands, all that together manufactured a flag. But I really couldn't get an answer from the officials that was real clear in my mind until several plays later. Dwayne hit a guy out of bounds. That wasn't necessary. Albert grabbed the face mask. He was trying to make a tackle, and that's about all he could grab at the time, but you can't grab a face mask. Ryan Russell jumped off sides one time, which is not good, but it happens. And then we had a defensive substitution one time where someone thought we wanted him on the field. He plays that position, but his guy was already out there, one of our young guys. Offensively, I'm trying to find the penalties here if I can find them. We had a holding penalty. One of them was flagrant by Kitchens. He got beat and he grabbed him and whirled him to the ground. We don't like it. It's better than hitting the quarterback, but we can't have that. We had a couple blocks in the back by guys on the perimeter trying hard, trying to get their head in the front, but they're good players that Notre Dame has, and they run fast, and it was hard to get our head in the front, and we got a couple of them in the back. And then the chop block that we had a 5-step protection called, and one of our offensive linemen decided to fire out and cut him, and the other lineman was sliding that way, and it wasn't intentional, but together they manufactured the chop block. So really there wasn't anything that I saw that I thought was someone out there that didn't care. It was a little sloppy, but they can be corrected. But a lot of it's playing hard. It's not guys that are trying to get an advantage. It's guys that are playing hard against really good players, and sometimes you get on the edge, and sometimes you hang on to something that you're not supposed to. It's part of the game. Way too many. It's not acceptable. But when you look at it on film, it's not a result of lack of effort. This guy's trying really hard against really good players and not able to get quite in the right spot to get it done.
All of Michael Floyd's catches weren't against Ricardo, but when you went back and kind of watched that matchup, what did you think of the way Ricardo played, maybe when he was isolated in man coverage?
I don't think he played near as well as he could. He played against a great player, and he played hard. There were a couple of times that he slipped, and we had several guys slip. I don't know why. Maybe it's going against really good players that are playing fast, and you're trying to play fast and match up with them. But we slipped some, and that hurt him a couple of times throughout the course of the game. And there were a couple of times I thought that maybe he could have came out of his break a little bit quicker, a little more sudden. Maybe not as quick or as sudden as he normally does. And if you're a step behind a great player like that, he's going to manufacture some plays, and he is a great player. He's an exceptional wide receiver, one of the great players of his position in the country.
And with what you know about Ricardo
Excuse me.
and kind of his character and his drive, I mean, you would expect him to respond pretty well.
Absolutely. He and the whole football team. We went out there and we played hard, particularly in the first half, and we weren't able to get it done, and it was tough. At the end of the game, the game got the score got lopsided, and didn't go as hard maybe towards the very end of the play. We had a couple guys that probably could have gave a little more effort at the end, but overall, running to the football was pretty good throughout the course of the game. We tackled very poorly. We were diving at ankles, and they were making us miss. That makes it look a lot worse than what it was. But we tackled poorly, and that really hurt us.
As you move on this week and the rest of the season, how is the poor tackling? How much is that a concern?
It's a concern. We talked about it. As a staff when we met, and we're going to try to do some things a little bit different in practice to help us some. Take a little more time to work on tackling in our individual work. In our tackling circuit, in our tackling drills. Extend the period maybe a little bit so they can get some more reps at it, and then maybe have a few more live tackling drills, against live bodies to help us some. We tackled very poorly, and some of that was us, and a lot of that was them being really good.
I was just going to ask.
Injuries coming out of that?
I don't know. I've got a lot of stuff here. We had a lot of recruits in, and so I've got stacks of paper everywhere. we'll have some guys that'll miss practice today, but I don't think we have anybody that got injured that's going to be out for the game next week. We got, I think Albert Evans has maybe a sore ankle or knee, or he's got a thigh bruise, and some guys that are dinged up a little bit. But I don't think we had anybody that got hurt in the game last night that's not going to be ready to play this week. Talking to the team, we start Big Ten play this week, and that's good news because we're starting Big Ten play off with a pretty healthy football team. And this time last year, when we were getting into the run of Big Ten play, we had way too many guys injured, and it was a real liability for a football team. So we're in relatively good shape from a health standpoint. We have played a couple of games this year that we didn't play as well as we could have, and if we had to learn our lessons and grow as a football team, I'd rather do it early in the season than in Big Ten play. So again, not happy that we're 2-2, but I think that we'll be a better football team coming into Big Ten play. And I think we've learned some things the last couple of weeks, and I think we'll take some steps.
Raheem Mostert got several opportunities to return kicks. Is that as you get going in the Big Ten season, do you think he'll be back there a lot more?
I sure do. Really like him back there. Yeah, you take a look at him, and even though he's a skill guy, he's got a lot bigger, stronger body than what you would imagine. When I first met him, he's about 175 pounds, and he's a lot bigger and a lot stronger. You look at the size of his hands, and he's got big shoulders, and he's really fast, and he's really a hard hitter. To be a young, skilled person, he's extremely fast. So I thought he did a great job on the returns that he got. We've been waiting to get him some opportunities, and what a game to get your chances in. And I thought he really rose to the occasion. We have talked about our commitment to special teams, and there was a point in time in the game yesterday that the only thing that was really keeping us alive was special teams. And I don't think that our specialists kicked as well as they have. We didn't kick the ball as good as we have, but we usually kick it better than just about anybody in the country does. So when a guy lines up and misses a 54-yard field goal, and we're disappointed that he didn't make his field goal, most people won't even line up and attempt one. But I thought that all of the guys that played around our kickers, all of the blue-collar guys, the cover guys, and the hold-up guys, and the guys that have to block, and the guys that have to catch, and the guys that have to cover, I thought they ran hard and played physical, and for the most part executed pretty well.
Right. Just one other thing about Ricardo. You had said after the first game he'd get another opportunity to return punts. Is it still on the board that you would like to see him return?
Yeah, I'd like to see him back there, but really Wayne L has done very well. He's went into the game as a second leading punt returner in the Big Ten. And when a guy's sure-handed and he's good enough to be one of the top guys in your league, it's hard to pull him out of there. And it was really windy again last night, and that's when you start worrying about fielding the football is on windy nights. And we got out there in pregame, and that wind was really swirling in pregame. It died down some throughout the course of the game. I'd like to give Ricardo some more shots back there, but right now Wayne L's our punt return guy, and he's doing a great job.